focus on
But a lot
ourselves.
of
Now, I know you said you like to be effective in terms of like the topics you pick and everything, but then doesn't there come a time when it's your responsibility? It doesn't matter whether people are listening or not. Just remind, just maybe go
At least one
go
reminder,
into
I
Prophet Nuh mode. Just remind. Whether you get a reaction, whether it's effective or not, then it's not your responsibility, isn't it?
think.
What do you mean, just remind?
I mean, you said people working here, you don't like they're not here all the time. They don't want to listen. So what's the point of telling them like what to do when they come?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that there's mentalities which people have. Yeah. Some people come with that mentality. Yeah. So the opposite of that is, okay, every action has so many different, so much depth to it. Yeah. For example, praying salah. Yeah. So some people are going to be happy praying their salah at home on their own. Some people are not going to pray their salah. There's a big difference between those two types. One of those two people is really excited about the fact he prays once at home. Yeah, that's like he's really pious. Yeah, that's like the epitome of his religion. The people that come on a Friday, that's not like they might not even be religious every day. That is their religion. Like I've come to pledge my allegiance to Islam this week, and they're so happy with themselves for coming. That's like, now we are at different stages, but if we just think that, yeah, I've done my thing, then we won't be able to progress. Because we're not with the mindset of progressing. So, anyway, coming back to the example of salah. Salah is something which, somebody can come in the masjid and pray in the front row. Somebody can be the imam while praying salah. But just because you just led the salah, it doesn't mean that you can't improve the amount of concentration you have in the salah, or the way that you stand in your salah, the technique that you use in your salah, and even the way that you recite in your salah. All of that still still stand to be corrected on all of them. Even the way you do sajda, the dua we read in sajda, after we finish salah, how we do wudu for salah, all of those things, like if we brought a bit of consciousness to all of those things, we could just transform the way that we have. So just like if somebody brought a bit of consciousness to coming on a Friday and thought, I'm going to actually learn whatever I'm taught today, rather than just sitting there playing Pokemon Go. What do people do nowadays, man? That wasn't a good name, was it? What's it? The Rush one, Candy Crush. That's the one I should use. So instead of sitting there playing Candy Crush, you might actually listen. But it's about whether or not you want to learn something in the first place. So it applies to all of us to some extent. So the Jummah people, it applies in a certain way. But then if we keep talking about them, we're not really learning anything, are we? But for me, it applies personally, like myself. Like there's things about the way I pray which we don't really think about how we can improve it, how we can get better. If you think you've arrived at the level that you're praying at the moment, then you've just basically lost the whole point of praying, haven't you? Because your salah is only really going to work if you're working hard at it, if you're trying to make it better, if you're trying to improve. If you're just there like half asleep, then it's not really even a prayer. Like you got to be seeing what you're going to get out of it. You got to be approaching the prayer like this is something. I don't know, man. Like how this one's going to change my life. In what way? Like how's my night going to go after praying Isha today? For example, that maybe that's in the future, but that's the kind of thought that we should have. That how does my salah actually affect my life, and how much spirituality actually do I get from it? So then the more we kind of bring a bit of consciousness, then we're like, oh my God, like I didn't even realize I just prayed Maghrib today. Like I was just daydreaming about, I don't know, whatever daydream about. Like we didn't even realize that. Even for those of us that prayed Jummah today in Jama'ah, like, what was the talk about today? Yeah, like what did I benefit from the talk? Did I even take? I'm sure, regardless of how bad a speaker is, you can always take one little thing away. That this is the one thing I'm going to, try and improve about my life. Did we concentrate in the salah? Did we listen to the khutbah? Did we come on time for the English or whatever? Wherever we went, did we go on time to listen from the beginning? All of these things affect our own kind of spirituality on a regular basis, and our salah is affected regularly as well. It depends a lot on the mindset. Some people are, if you've arrived basically, if you feel you've arrived at wherever you need to be for your religion, for your spirituality, for your connection to Allah, for your knowledge, for the amount of knowledge we need to know about Islam, if we've arrived, then it becomes very difficult to progress. And as soon as you stop progressing in Islam, it just becomes really boring and you just can't be bothered in it. You have to have progress, otherwise it's boring. Like, that's the only way that a person will actually develop. Yes.
So one Sheikh says there's a few types of Muslim. There is a one Jummah Muslim, one Eid Muslim, one Ramadan Muslim, and one full-time Muslim.
I think full time this is
Some
something.
people, yeah, some people goes, they don't even do Fajr Salah,
I
they
think
do
for us
Jummah.
the thing is
Just
like
the Eid Salah,
you
that's it,
focus
finish.
on
For
yourself
the
and
one
you're
year.
closer yourself, isn't it?
And they're the first
More
one to
on
go and
yourself
Eid
and
Jummah.
your children and stuff. Sometimes you learn things and you pass it to your children, isn't it?
Mm.
So,
No, so what I'm saying is like it depends how seriously you take something.
yeah.
Yeah. So when you start bringing a bit of consciousness to it, that I need to improve this, or I need to sort this out, or I need to make sure I'm progressing, or just asking the question, am I progressing? Then obviously, you know, the end stage is to change your daily routine. That's like the end stage. But the first stage is to think about, okay, maybe I need to do something. Like the final thing to do would be to actually implement this thing into our to-do list on a daily basis and actually try and somehow do it every day, whatever that thing might be. That's like the final stage. But first to think about it a bit and think that I'm going to actually try and do something different, try and bring something extra, whether it's into a weekly basis or smaller things onto a daily basis, something which allows us to develop and improve on a daily basis.
One question, yeah. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You know when you come in the masjid, Friday, people do 2 rakah, that's the masjid, right? So before he do azan, you can still do another nafila. After he do azan, you can do another nafila again. It's no limit? Or is there any limit?
Not really, but obviously if the time is, if there's istiwa of the sun, then in our madhab you should read.
So when you come, you just do 2 rakah and
Well, it depends on the time, isn't it? If the sun is at istiwa, do you know what that means? If the sun's right in the middle, so you have 3 points where it's haram to pray, isn't it?
Okay.
One is when the sun's rising. Does everyone know this?
No.
Well, I know